Hi everyone, this is Sahil, and today we are going to discuss one of the most asked questions in the testing world, which is how to crack coding rounds for an SDET role interview. Now, we all can agree that coding rounds can be scary, challenging, and quite unpredictable. Also, these are often the knockout rounds for most interview processes. So, before going deeper into the secret of cracking these rounds, let's discuss the why of having a coding round for an SDET role interview. So let us start with understanding the purpose of having a coding round in an SDET role interview. So on your screen, you'll be able to see the multiple aptitude skills and personality traits based on which you are being judged and evaluated by the interviewer panel as well as the hiring manager. Now let us have a quick walkthrough of all these personality traits. The first one being your technical skills. Now in a coding round, this is evaluated by checking your command on the programming language of your choice and your ability to design an efficient solution using data structures and algorithm within the given time. So the next trait is problem solving skill. Now this is evaluated by checking the approach that you take to solve the problem at hand and using your fast and critical thinking skills under pressure and time bound situation, since you're given 40 minutes or even less to solve the problem at hand. Now the third trait is logical thinking skill. Now this is evaluated by checking your reasoning ability in the quest of an optimized solution and ability to think clearly and logically when trying to solve a problem at hand. Now the way you justify your approach, the use of certain data structures, especially using time and space complexity comparisons, will really come handy in this case. The fourth personality trait is the pair programming skill. Now, we have to understand that ultimately we all have to work in a team. So it is advisable to display a calm, patient and an humble attitude with great listening skills so that the interviewer is very comfortable in working with you if you are selected for their team. And the last but not the least skill being the communication skill. Now this is evaluated by your ability to put your ideas, thoughts and solutions into simpler words and eventually your actions. So by now, we should all be clear with the purpose of having a coding round in SDET role interviews. With this, we can move to our next section, which is how to crack these coding rounds. Now, the secret sauce lies in understanding that there is a stepwise evaluation and marking scheme for these rounds. Yes, you heard it right. There is a stepwise marking scheme even for coding round assessment. So, you can score good and crack these rounds even if you're not able to reach the optimized solution within the stipulated time. Let's see how. Now on your screen, you should be able to see an approximate evaluation and marking scheme of coding round assessment. Now the first step being queries asked to an open-ended problem. Now I have seen candidates who jump to the code and solution immediately after hearing the problem, which is the wrong way. So after asking the questions and understanding the problem correctly, you can jump to the next step, which is discussing your approach and logic with the interviewer. Now, in many cases, there can be more than one solutions to the given problem, and it is advisable to discuss all the possible solutions with individual trade-offs, especially in the form of space and time complexities, and reach a common consensus with the interviewer. This step has an enormous importance which showcase your decision-making skills, your logical thinking as well as your pair programming skills to the interviewer. So after discussing different approaches with the interviewer and reaching a common consensus, you can now start to write code. Now in this step, you are advised to think loudly. That is, you have to ensure that there is no silence in the room for more than 2 or 3 minutes when you are writing the code. You should discuss whatever you are trying to do with each line of code and especially where you are stuck at. You will be surprised that in many cases, not only you'll get good marks for your loud thinking skills, but also you will be showered with multiple hints at different stages just because of your proactiveness that will ultimately help you to score good in the overall interview. Now the first step is you be able to reach optimized and working solution within the stipulated time. Now in most of the product company interviews, you are required to do coding on a whiteboard, that is a notepad for online interviews, where you should be very comfortable to dry run your code along with the interviewer after submitting the solution. And the last step, which is the testing and debugging. Here you're required to design P0 level unit test cases to test your own code. And if a bug is caught using those test cases, then showcase your debugging skills and fix the code then and there and rerun the code to show that the fix actually works. And this, my friends, cover the entire evaluation and marking scheme of coding rounds, and I hope that you will be able to remember each and every step to score good and pass the coding rounds with flying colors. So take a deep breath and read the above steps again to form a template in your mind before you go to any coding round from now on. And in the last section of this video, let me walk you through some of the very important tips for your preparation, which you will be able to see on your screen now. The first one is focus on logic building and pattern formations in your mind with regular practice of competitive programming questions. Then take notes and revise all the programs and questions that you have solved at least twice a week. You can start with the practice of solving 3 to 4 coding programs per day that eventually will become a habit. It is advisable to cover all array and string related questions in the beginning and then eventually move on to data structures like linked list, stack, queue, map and tree. Data structures till this level should be okay for all SDET coding round interviews. You should revise all the searching and sorting algorithms and should be very comfortable with each of these complexities. Next, you have to try out different approaches for solving the same question and also should be very comfortable in individual trade-offs of these approaches. And finally, my favorite tip, which is coding is exactly like mathematics. There is no alternative to regular practice and to consistency. And with this, we reach to the end of this video, and I hope that you are now more comfortable and confident with the why and how of these coding rounds. Thank you and see you next time.